Day Rangers looking for the Outlaws. Welcome back to our second segment of Inside the News. Glad to have you with us. And normally this is our international segment, but we're still going to be talking domestic. There's so much going on. A big shout out to a couple of our affiliates this week, and we'll do this from time to time. WZUS, the Talk of Decatur, 101 FM, that you guys are listening to us at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. And then KEYS at 1440 a.m. in Corpus Christi. You're listening to us on 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. So glad that you are with us and in letting us bring you inside the news. Okay, Ben, let's talk about what is going on here. And you see what's going on as far as what Trump is doing. He literally just has ordered that the federal retirement monies be taken out of China. I think that's a great move, Ben.
Well, I think that's a move. It is part of the war we have to wage against China, and I use that word advisedly, in terms of recognizing that we have been in an economic war with them for decades, one that they are winning quite handily. This virus has exposed the degree to which we have become dependent on Chinese manufacturing. Everyone's always known about the iPhone and Foxconn and the fact that iPhones are made there, but what people are realizing that 80 to 90% of all pharmaceuticals are now manufactured in China. We have so many products and services coming out of China now, being manufactured in China, and this is a strategic problem for the United States. The Chinese have already threatened to use these capabilities against us. There have been Chinese politicians calling openly to withhold pharmaceutical products and PPE, personal protective equipment, a lot of which is manufactured in China, from the United States, as a way to punish us, tied in with the Chinese propaganda that this virus came out of the United States. So this is a situation that is gone way too far, has to be remedied. And it turns out that Donald Trump was way ahead of the curve on this, way ahead of, I think, a lot of Americans, but people are waking up. And this is going to become the foundation of his reelection campaign over the balance of this year.
Okay, Frank, you mentioned it in our first segment here, but it bears repeating that, and we had a list of the dots. In other words, let's start with the testing and IHME and Bill Gates. We started listing down those various entities and people, and then when you said the final dot was China, and I think you nailed it on that in pre-production.
I want to go back to something that Ben had said. Recognizing that we're in a war with China. The reality of it is, war is not only fought in the 21st century with tanks and bombs and guns. It's fought with economics. It's fought by a variety of means. There has been a failure in the American media to talk about this ongoing war with China. I think part of it is the inclination of Hollywood to see China as the future of their investments. The lure of investing in China, whether it's Hollywood or a manufacturing plant, has been that billion-plus population of China. It's that chimera, that illusion that somehow or other we're going to tap those billion people and the American manufacturers or American companies are going to become rich from them. The reality of it is that will always be just an illusion. The fact of the matter is, China will steal our technological secrets. We can manufacture a product in China once. They'll steal the patents, steal the secrets, and manufacture it on their own. The dream of profit from China is just a dream. Ben also mentioned being ahead of the curve. What is fascinating to me is that the prescience of the Trump campaign back in 2016, talking about all of this, talking about the problems with China, talking about manufacturing going offshore, has been the biggest economic story perhaps of the past 100 years. And yet you can scour every major newspaper, every major news broadcast, and you will find no mention of how far ahead of the curve Donald Trump was in 2016.
Boy, oh boy, I can tell you one thing. I believe that. Frank nailed that because that's what he campaigned upon, about bringing our manufacturing, make America great again, Ben, and Frank nailed it on that one.
Well, he did. And let's tie back into our earlier discussion. What has been the motivation and the motivating factor of the deep state to really attack Donald Trump? What is it that Donald Trump is doing that is truly threatening to the established interests in Washington, D.C., represented by the Clintons and the Obamas of the world? And it really does come back to China. The degree to which China has splashed money around to buy influence, to buy control, is really staggering. And this entire false narrative, when you look at General Flynn and why he was targeted as the critical asset that had to be taken out by the Obama team before he became a key ally of Donald Trump. The one crime that General Flynn committed was that he routinely downplayed Russia as a threat, correctly, in my opinion, viewing Russia as an aging power that is dying off, that has a relatively small economy, whereas China has this massive growing economy, an economy which will be on par with ours in another decade or so, and correctly recognizing that China is the future threat. They're the ones who want to unseat the United States as the hegemony. And apparently that caused a lot of the decisions that were made to target Trump, to bring him down, to cripple his administration, cripple at least his first term in office, which they successfully did to a very large degree. And it is, we've said this before, it's remarkable the degree to which Trump has been able to achieve things in the face of all of this resistance inside Washington, D.C.
All right, that was Ben Brunson, and you can find him at benbrunson.com, amazon.com. Frank Vernuccio, you can find him at usagovpolicy.com. We've got a YouTube channel now. It's WBV Inside the News. You can find our podcast on SoundCloud. Once again, WBV Inside the News. Glad that you are with us. We're going to take a time out here. Coming back, it's going to be our election trail segment, and it's called the Biden campaign, but it's the Biden basement campaign. They've modified it. Will he ever come out of the basement? That's coming up. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.